These are the principles of the world that we see today. New discoveries have now overturned every single one of these beliefs. Every single one of the beliefs that you see on the left-hand side of your screen is now proven in peer-reviewed science to be scientifically false. So this isn't my opinion, it's not my theory, it's not my hypothesis. This is based in peer-reviewed science. What we now know is that these false assumptions of science are at the root, the foundation of many of the extremes that we're seeing in our lives, in our world today. New discoveries now are telling us where we need to shift our thinking. Now, I've had people say to me in the past, Greg, maybe science didn't get all these things right, but science, it's been pretty good. I mean, it did get us to the moon, and it has brought us penicillin and vaccines. Where do we go with this? Why is it important in our lives? And I want to just take a minute and share this with you, because when we really understand this, it's so powerful. Many of the scientific discoveries, the false assumptions, were made in the late 1800s, in the early 1900s, precisely the time when our society was being developed. So the fundamental essence of our society, our economic system, our corporate system, the way we deal with natural resources, the way we share resources like food and water, energy and medicine, all of these things, they are based in the ideas that were embraced as scientific in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And even though we now know that many of them are false, we're still living in the system where those principles are in place. They are unsustainable because they're based in false assumptions. So, what do the new discoveries now tell us? The best science of the 20th, now the 21st century. It's telling us, number one, the origin of life, it's not random. Physical evidence is telling us this. The origin of human life is definitely not random. The DNA evidence is telling us this. We're going to explore this in future episodes, in this program, in this series. Our relationship to our body, science is telling us that we are deeply, deeply connected. Our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs trigger the chemistry in our brain and in our heart that releases the healing hormones, the anti-aging hormones, the powerful immune response into our bodies. And the beauty of that is that we get to choose the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs that do the triggering. So we are deeply, deeply ingrained in this system. Our relationship to the world, what we now know is that civilization is cyclic. The 5,000 years that we've been studying is the history of the world. That's only the history of the most recent cycle. There was a 5,000-year cycle before that, and one before that. We're not sure how far back that goes. The fundamental rule of nature, we now know that nature is based upon a principle of cooperation, not conflict, in what biologists call mutual aid, not struggle. Now, this isn't denying that struggle and conflict happen. We all see it. But here's the deal. The more struggle and conflict we see, that tells us how far we have strayed as individuals or as nations from the truest nature, the most fundamental principle of the natural world. So now, 150 years of the scientific thinking is changing because these new discoveries tell us they must change. So we're moving to a new story. We're moving from a story of separation to a story of connection. We're moving from a story of competition and conflict based in Darwin's ideas from 150 years ago to a new story that's based upon cooperation and mutual aid.